What is up, my fellow posers? How's it going? It has been a while. Did you miss me? What am I saying? Of course you didn't. But I missed every single one of you. And you know what? I would name my firstborn child after every single one of you, if only I wasn't infertile. It is my privilege to be speaking to you today while wearing this filthy Buc-ee's hoodie that is filthy because I got blood on it at an Exhumed show. And today marks the first of what will probably be a 4-part series called Band Bmonday 2.0, where I yammer on about 2.0 bands instead of just 1.0. And I have determined which bands to talk about by finding two bands that have something in common with their names. So example, with Band Bmonday 9, I had Needle Pusher, and since needles and nails are both sharp, I would have maybe combined Needle Pusher and nails. And the topic of today's video here on Band Bmonday number 10 is going to be creeps. How appropriate.
How appropriate.
And the question that we have to start off with is, what is creepier? Creeping death or creeping gates? Let's discuss. We'll start with gates. In order to gain more insight on creepy gates, I have traveled to the home of Omaha billionaire Warren Buffett in order to gain his insight on fellow rich person Bill Gates. Bill Gates is best known, ironically, as the top seller of Windows in the 21st century. Now, at this point in the script, I was going to go and stand on Warren Buffett's lawn because it literally is 10 miles away from me, but then I realized that nobody would know that was his house, and it was kind of, I'm too lazy to go travel that far for a joke, and so then I was going to go to a cemetery, and I was going to, it was going to do something with cemetery gates, but I was too lazy to do that too. Feel free to leave me a tip on my coffee. Jokes aside, the band that we're talking about, Gatecreeper, is a phenomenal group and is currently Arizona's most successful group of desert bandits since the Clanton Gang of the 19th century. And sometimes they even like to go on stage and play with instruments, perhaps at a music hall near you. Their recorded works include Sonoran Deprivation, Deserted, and An Unexpected Reality, a triptych that details the horror of suddenly discovering that you live in Arizona. Yes, that is an awful bold joke to make for somebody that lives in fucking Nebraska, I know. Gatecreeper is also a lovely play on words that may sound to you like the word gatekeeper. Gatekeeping is, of course, a very beloved pastime for this channel, and I wouldn't be a poser without it. It is the act of setting a standard for a fandom and taking it upon oneself to determine who is or is not a poser. Gatekeeping became especially famous in the mid to late 2010s when the deathcore community decided that literally any piece of criticism against their music could be considered gatekeeping. Moving away from gates now, our other source of creep today, Creeping Death, is a Metallica song that was accidentally made sentient when Kirk Hammett and Tony Iommi were messing with a Ouija board at Ozfest 2004. It must be noted that this was not the same Ouija incident that led to Beelzebub turning James Hetfield into a table. That abominable inversion of God's creation is another story for another day. The creature would split apart into different sections and develop its own music in the form of Spectre of War, Wretched Illusions, and The Edge of Existence. Unlike Gatecreeper, which draws much of its inspiration from the desert state of Arizona, Creeping Death takes more inspiration from their home state of Arizona Deluxe. And if you insist on calling Arizona Deluxe Texas, that is gatekeeping. Now, with this two-band Band Bmonday format, we are going to be asking a question that is eternally valid. Between these two bands that I admire and respect equally, which one would win in a fight? And in order to answer that question, I will be applying the soundest scientific method imaginable. I will be randomly cherry-picking a song from each of them and making an arbitrary comparison. To select the song, I went to pickerwheel.com and I put in every EP or album from each band, and then whichever one that landed on, I would go ahead and input every song from that EP or album. And what we have as a result is Wretched Illusions for Creeping Death and Everlasting by Gatecreeper. So for the song Everlasting by Gatecreeper, we actually have a return to a theme from Band Bmonday episode 6, wherein Celestial Sanctuary spoke about the unfortunate intergalactical soul forced into a celestial sanctuary by lasagna or something, I don't know. I didn't rewatch that video before making this one, so... Anyway, Everlasting begins by describing an entity that nameless, eternal, dark, and divine, and it defies description, and even though it was just described, it is a soul devourer, which is pretty much everything and nothing at the same time. Now I gotta tell you, being that much stuff seems like a hell of a lot of work, and I gotta give an amazing amount of credit to this entity for that. Speaking as a person who is not really a whole lot of things, I'm actually the character that is sung about by Mariah Carey in All I Want for Christmas Is You when she says, I don't want a lot. But much like the Night King from Game of Thrones, we never really get a full picture of what this thing is all about. Luckily, it just so happens that I have a wall flag of the deserted album cover, so maybe I can go stare at that for a few hours and get some results. Based on the creaminess of the album cover, I'm going to say that it's all a metaphor for creme brulee. Moving on now to Wretched Illusions by Creeping Death. This one also features a devourer, but it's more focused on earth rather than souls. This regular old son of a gun is described as cataclysmic, murderous, unholy, and immoral. Lying dormant for eons, it is now ready to incite delirium. Insert boomer joke about in-laws here. We're given a taste of this delirium with the description of the entity, filling a... entity. Filling a mind with chaos and being sanctified in blood. It's pretty intense, sure, but not as intense as the Cinnamon Challenge, which... whatever happened to the Cinnamon Challenge? That hasn't been relevant since like 2007, right? Whatever. I still think it's a highly relevant activity. At this point, it occurs to me that I lost the third page of this script that I wrote over 2 months ago. So I guess between the two bands, it is a solid tie. And we are going to give both Gatecreeper and Creeping Death a solid good out of 10. In all seriousness, they are great bands to see live if you ever get a chance. Creeping Death and Gatecreeper here on Band Bmonday 10. Go ahead and have Merry Thanksgiving for those of you that celebrate. And this has been a presentation of The Average Poser, Creeping Deadly Gates. Have a great day. Poser over. If it's two bands, why didn't I call it Band Tuesday?